It's the Sod Pod, brought to you by Grassland Agro. The Sod Pod. Hello, and welcome to episode 11 of the Sod Pod. In the last episode, we covered social sustainability from the farmer's point of view, and in this episode, we have a guest speaker. We're joined by Simon Delaney.
Hi James, thanks a million for having me on.
No bother at all, Simon. Simon is a technical agronomist with Grassland Agro, so we're just going to have a chat with Simon about life, farming, and the role with Grassland Agro itself. First thing, Simon, you turned 28 there last week. Happy birthday to you.
Thanks a million, James. Yeah, so I suppose another year older, and I'm not sure about being any wiser, but we're on the right track anyway. We're getting there.
James, hold on a second. I think we should state something here. This is not Simon Delaney from Ireland AM. It's not the famous Simon Delaney.
The actor from Bachelor's Walk and the like.
Yeah, like the podcast is going good, James, but it's just not going that good.
We're not going that good yet.
I prefer to listen to our one than that lad anyways. It's Simon Delaney, the tip minor hurler.
Oh, Janie Mac.
He'll be well known now.
You're going back a couple of years anyway, but yeah, thanks Dave. Sure, look, I suppose we all can't have being in reserve on the Waterford IT Refreshers hurling team as the highlight of our sporting career, but I was very lucky, all right, to be a panellist of an All-Ireland winning team back in 2012, so they'll have the Celtic Cross at home, so we're delighted with that anyway. I suppose working with Grass, and now the last 4 years covering the Cork, mid-Cork, kind of East Cork region, living in Cashel, so travelling up and down every day to work, and I suppose at home then I'm heavily involved there with our dairy farm, which has recently seen a lot of transition over the last 2 to 3 years, where we've actually went into a partnership with my uncle Eamonn, my father Richard and myself. No, I suppose between the job and the farm, we're very busy, but very happy to do so. It's great to be on, I suppose, is the main thing anyway, and I suppose I said I'd come in and try to ruffle up a few of the lads here and maybe spice things up there, you know, so no, we're more than happy to help you out.
Just whenever you mention the hurling there, Davy, I think it's very important to note that, Simon, you did play inter-county hurling with Tip, and more importantly you beat Clare in a minor championship final.
Yeah, so thanks Sean. Yeah, at least Sean has some inter-county experience at some level as well, and like that now we're going back a few years, alright, but definitely over the rest of the lads here, I think there that we probably have a little bit more to discuss on it.
I would have won a few All-Irelands there at the Flag Kyoto. As you know, yeah.
I suppose they all count, Dave, to be
numerous.
fair.
John, what All-Irelands did you win?
We try to keep it local there, so like winning a Clare Championship minor A double is harder done than, you know, being number 27 doing the warm up in either Monaghan minors or Tip minors. Like, you know, did you get the bib to run on with the hurleys lads, or what way? What did you do yourself,
Simon
was talking about Sean is still bitter about it as well, which is the worst of it. You came on and roll up the tracksuit and you went doing a slide or something.
All these things have to be done as well. Like, he
was driving the Clare fans, but no, it's great. We had to get Jim. I think we had to get Simon on to balance the books, because there was a couple of reports about maybe Clare hurling featuring too prominently. Is there?
Yeah, we'd like to maybe say to Philip Tyndall, you might have been Young Farmer of the Year in the Grass 10, but we were very disappointed that you're fueling John O'Loughlin to be referencing Clare GEA. We've enough trouble with him already as it goes. So, look, 2 Tip men here today, 2 Clare men, and a Monaghan man, not really stick country, but big ball country, I suppose. Sean, we always give you a little say on the football every now and again. Simon, you're a big fan of Hudson Taylor. You were down at the West of Wake.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was great how it cracked. Sure, it was great for the local community down there. Now they would be a rival parish to my own hurling club, but look, I might be a bit of a blow-in up there, all right, but they don't hold it against me anyway, in fairness.
Good stuff.
Simon, you're with Grassland since 2018, is it?
Yeah, no, look, I suppose I started there in 2018 after doing a year in the meat industries. Definitely, I suppose the Grassland Agro role kind of, I would see myself as a fairly well people person, Sean, so definitely making that transition there from a meat industry into a role like this is something I think made the decision, and don't think I ever really looked back, you know. So no, look, we're with it coming up to 4 years with the company there now. So
you're with the company 4 years, Simon. I suppose just give us a bit of an insight into, like, you're the first agronomist that we've had on within the company. The listeners a slight introduction as to what a day in the life, say, at the minute, or what the job entails.
Yeah, Sean. So look, I suppose we're just after finishing our silage cut and weigh campaign there that we have with our soil sustainability programme. And, you know, I suppose even since I've started there, the information that we can bring back to farmers in the lines of, I suppose, your silage cut and weigh, your Salvita test and the soil sampling, everything, it really is a complete package. And I think guys have responded well to that over the last couple of years. Even in my couple of years here, I can see the interaction, the understanding of soil is improving the whole time, I suppose. Look, there's plenty of the likes of myself out there as well, like that, you know, reps, my fellow colleagues as well. So we're covering every corner of the country, you could say. So no, we're just trying to, I suppose, spread the good message about soil fertility and the importance of it and trying to maintain it, you know.
And on the silage sampling there, Simon, you're just finished up. How are our first cuts looking across the country?
Yeah, sure, there's bumper crops there, you know. It's really something that's becoming very important on farm, like, you know, particularly with the price of, would say, con acre and rented ground and things like that. You know, it's important to be getting as much out of your silage ground area as you are out of your milking platform. I suppose with the cut and weigh, it really is able to tell us, okay, like, have we differed much from the previous year? Is there something we done differently? How are our P&Ks looking there after soil samples? And do we need to spread an extra little bit of maybe potash or something like that at the back end of the year?
And we probably do, Simon, if there are those bumper crops coming off.
Definitely, like, you know, and it's an important factor of it. Like, you know, if you have maybe 8 or 9 ton of dry matter per hectare coming off in your first cut, you might be talking 6 or 7 on a second cut, and if you were to get a few grazings or a light third cut or something like that, you're going to be up at your 15 plus, you know. So that's massive offtakes, like. And I suppose, look, it's small little kind of changes we can make by maybe going with an extra little bit of potash, as we said, or maybe targeting there with slurry and things like that, you know. That's really going to, I suppose, going down the road, make sure that we still get those kind of cuts as well, which is very important.
If you rewind the clock back a small bit to the start of the year, Simon, we obviously put a soil sample, put a fertiliser plan in place and delivered a fertiliser plan. What was this year like compared to other years in terms of farmer engagement with the soil sustainability programme, with the price of fertiliser that we've experienced this spring?
Yeah, look, it's a massive challenge on farm when you look at fertiliser obviously being one of the biggest input costs you're going to have on farm. So as you can imagine, everyone at the start of the year, there was a lot of prices being floated around, and lads were very conscious of it, and, you know, they wanted to ensure that if they were getting a product onto farm, that was going to work, it was going to perform. Potentially looking, a lot of guys have maybe reduced nitrogen on farm, and to date now they're getting on quite well, even with maybe less fertiliser spread, you know. So, like, it's very important there, even at the start of the year when we were going out, that we were very conscious of that when putting our fertiliser plan together and making, I suppose, the best decisions for and with the client is the big thing. Like, you know, we're only there to assist guys and talk them through it there in terms of the best applications and time and applications of fertilisers as well, you know. So
one of the big things, Simon, I notice we often, you know, go to farms together to run through fertiliser plans as part of the sustainability programme, but you have a very practical way of explaining to the farmer why maybe they should be spreading a certain product, and it's definitely a skill that you have yourself. So, like, maybe how do you break down for the farmer where he needs to invest in P and K and explain that to them?
Yeah, so look, your soil samples are probably your go-to thing there, and that's going to really tell us an overview of the farm in terms of where we're at with soil fertility. From my own point of view, like, I'm heavily involved in our own dairy farm at home, John, and I suppose, like, it's like we are far from the finished article ourselves at home, and like I say to guys there, especially when we're trying to improve our indexes at home and trying to improve our fertility, that I wouldn't say to you, John, go off and do X, Y and Z if I wouldn't look at it myself and say I'd be prepared to do that at home. you know, so I think that's a big thing. And I guess there, because I'm so involved with the farm at home, I can definitely relate to guys when I'm calling out to farm as well, you know, so it does
Simon,
help.
but you've been involved since you were knee high to a grasshopper. I remember a great story. Your dad Richie was heading off on the tractor. You were about 3.5 years of age, and as soon as Granny turned her back, you were up on the pedal tractor and tearing down the road. Is it true that only for a young neighbour coming up the road you might have been lost?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say it's not one we'd be bringing back up too often now, in case the father could have a heart attack, poor devil. But no, Dad does a bit of contracting and stuff like that, and I suppose to keep me quiet, he just said he was going to the outside block that we have, and sure, I knew where that was, and I knew where my tractor was, so I was going to go up and give him a hand, you know. Right. So I tore off down the passageway there, and no, just it was probably the luck of God anyway there that there was a guy coming along, and he kind of knew the bowel heading me there, so he took me back in home, and no, it was a lorry actually that pulled up to stop it anyway. But
you would have done a right job, haven't you? Simon, though, you probably, maybe the love of machinery maybe has gone off you a small bit. You're more of a stockman. I'd say you're getting the best from both sides, maybe the machinery from Richie and the stock from Eamonn. But which would you prefer nowadays?
Yeah, sure. Like, look, I suppose there's often being thrown around at home there is there's obviously such a contrast maybe between myself and my father's interest. There's often be question marks about it, do you know what I mean? But no,
Richie doesn't drink, sure.
Yeah, it's another quality we don't share maybe, but no, definitely. Look, I probably very lucky obviously there that Dad was so interested in machinery, and obviously my uncle Eamonn is a serious stockman as well, so I probably got the benefit of having two very good teachers as such along, but no, definitely for myself anyway, I'm much more interested in the stock and obviously the soil and the importance of that. And
but did that change happen about the time when you were rolling the pit and you might have slipped over the edge? So is it true that you're banned from the silage pit now? What happened that day, Simon?
Sure, look, it was coming in too quick into the air, James, and I was under the cosh, as they say. But no, look, I suppose it's all about growing up, and I was asked to do the pit one year, but I was never asked to do it again, so I haven't looked into it too much more. But
we're getting tractor off the hazes.
Yeah, sure, look,
you got a tractor off them since?
Actually, look, you know yourself now, it is getting a bit hot and heavy here now, so you might move on quickly.
You must have some sort of connection, James, have you? Or how you have an insight?
I suppose Simon recently became an uncle for the first time. Little baby Samuel was born there a few weeks ago. A brother of mine is actually married to Simon's sister. Simon, who has 3 sisters and is known when Simon gets a bit dramatic, he'd often be kind as Simone, the 4th sister of the family.
Yeah, that was going. I don't know where the lads from Port Row came up with that, but thankfully it hasn't stuck. It is only James and a few of his close friends there that are obviously trying to get this one going, but it doesn't seem to be getting any legs anyway. So thanks be to God. But
the 12 listeners we have in the Sod Pod will now call you Simone as well.
Well, look, I've often been called worse. That's a fact.
They're living on the farm on Eamonn's farm, is it, in Rossmore?
Yeah, so look, I suppose as you said there, no, we're now in a partnership actually with my uncle Eamonn there as such. I suppose for myself, we would have grown up on a fairly modest dairy farm, you could say, probably milking roughly 40 to 45 cows, and my uncle Eamonn was doing the same above. And I suppose in the last 2 to 3 years, we were kind of, well, probably more, 4 to 5 years, I suppose, we were kind of saying that, you know, we might be able to make this a little bit more streamlined and more sustainable going forward, you know, and it was just getting very difficult there to have 2 milking platforms of. Now, in fairness, I was just working at home probably with Dad more so at the time, and maybe the odd Saturday with Eamon and things, and Eamon was running the show with his 40-45 cows above. And I suppose for ourselves, we just got a little bit concerned that, you know, if anything happened, either the 3 of us really in the partnership, David, that you know, it was going to put an awful lot of pressure on the other 2 guys, and we didn't want to see that happen. And I suppose as the guys are getting a little bit older, they'll tell me they're not able to do the same things they were doing 20 years ago, you know. But no, definitely, I suppose, look, we set up a partnership in 2020, and then in 2021, I suppose we joined the two herds pretty successfully. Looking back now, we're very happy with how things have progressed there. You know?
And Simon, you might just tell the story about Eamonn and the crick in his neck. I think it's an absolute brilliant one, because it's obviously the farmers can want so much, and Eamonn and Richie obviously and yourself are all in partnership. But I suppose Eamonn is absolutely delighted with the way things are going, like, and he can really see a difference. But just to explain the crick in the neck there, I think it's a brilliant story.
Yeah, so like I suppose, Dave, it's probably following on again then from your last sod pod as well there, in terms of just the efficiency in labour and things like that. So when we were talking about joining the two herds, I suppose I had it in my head there that, you know, if we are making this sort of expansion, you know, we need to have a system that's going to be working quite well, and that we're not going to be losing an awful amount of time in the parlour and things like that. So we decided to put in a new parlour. And as you touched on there, we put in the milk indicators. In fairness, as you said there, Eamonn would have a fierce fascination there with how well each cow is doing every single day. So I'd often be concerned about the health of his neck, when the indicators is obviously, for anyone that might have them or know them, they're slightly above, you know, kind of beside the ACRs and stuff, so you're kind of looking up the way. But I'd often just have to nearly crack the neck back into place for him, and it's just I suppose to speed up the operation as well, because no, he's quite fascinated with it.
It's a good point though, Simon, that you know, and it does marry very well into what we were discussing in the last podcast in relation to, you know, work-life balance and, you know, the quality of the facilities and stuff like that. So you might just give us a bit of a chat on, you know, the parlour that you put in, where you put it, the advice that you got along the way, and a few other bits and pieces like that.
Oh, John loves this one now, because I suppose he thinks that he had something to do with the planning of the whole situation. In fairness, look, I suppose he was a good lad to turn to and giving out a shout to, and some of the ideas we maybe thought about using and just didn't use.
He was going to have the cows coming in the complete opposite way of the parlour, and I had to sit him down and explain to him.
The idea somewhat.
Yeah, we just encouraged him, and whatever John wants to pursue or John wants to say, we'll just say fair play, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
No, yeah, look, in fairness, John, Eamonn had serious infrastructure above, and I think for us it was about capitalising on what we did have and trying to make the most out of it, in terms of obviously keeping costs down, because, you know, when you go into spending a good sum of money, like, you want to be spending it correctly and really getting the most value out of it. So luckily enough, there was a lot of sheds there, and I suppose where the parlour went into was actually, don't ask me really why there was a suckler shed there, but there was a suckler shed there, and we've never had sucklers, but no, there was
grants. That's why it was there.
There was a shed there, I suppose, there, and it had a layback area, and I suppose, look, the ideal dimensions for a 2'6" milking parlour is you'd have 18.5 foot wall to wall there, so where the cows would be milked and things like that, and the pit. So this was actually working out at 18 feet. So we said, Jesus, great, you know, we might be able to slaughter in there. So yeah, so we put the parlour in there. It's 4 spans long, and I suppose then we were able to get in up to 18 units. I suppose that was a big thing, that obviously the parlour was able to go in, and I suppose with just some of the bits that we were looking at in the parlour, we wanted to keep it as a simplistic enough machine, because you know, it was myself and Eamonn going to be there 95% of the time. I suppose we wanted something that wasn't going to be, you know, too difficult for both of us to get to understand, really, like, you know.
Well, it's a big one, Simon, because obviously you know, you're farm part-time with Eamonn and Richie, and you're working full time with Grassland, so like, you need to be in and out and efficient, like, so maybe how long does it take you in the morning, or what's your routine?
Definitely, like, yeah, so like, as you said, John, like, look, I need to be gone some mornings there, and I suppose with the system there, we're able to be in and out. Like, at the moment now, things are gone very straightforward after first cut silage is done, and obviously we have to bull out with the cows now, so the AI is finished as well. So it's very streamlined. Yeah, so I suppose, look, in the mornings you're probably talking somewhere between an hour and 5 and an hour and 10 from the time you start the machine until you stop it, and then in the evenings you're talking the flat hour, like, and it is really important for us that the milking is taking as much time as it needs, as such that we can go quite quickly, get through the cows, and I can head off to work. And I suppose a few things in the parlour that we probably would have put in then, just to make it, what I find is a big help in that sense, is we have the auto wash gone in, and I remember at home in the 6 unit, and you'd be washing out the parlour and moving the hoses there from your detergent to your cold rinse and the whole shebang, like. Yeah. So the auto wash is a very much a massive help there, like.
And how many cows are you milking? Like, it was the 45 and 45 combined as in 90, or have you gone up a small bit?
Yeah, no, we're just at 92 there now. So I suppose we probably have a little bit of wiggle room that we could go up another bit. But I suppose a lot of people, we probably done it the opposite way around, maybe, Sean, there, where you'd be focusing on reseeding and things like that, maybe 2 or 3 years out before I suppose we put in the parlour and stuff. But we went the opposite way, so we're just giving ourselves a little bit more of a breathing space that we can concentrate on our reseeding and concentrate on our soil fertility, so that's going to come on in the next couple of years. Hopefully we'll be able to go up a few more.
Simon, a great point you often make, and it goes back to last week as well on the social sustainability, kind of like as goals on farm, and we often talk about your own cows at home and the cows that are in the partnership and that, and you'll be hearing stories about cows that be doing 40, 45 litres and all that crack, and obviously at home you're trying to improve the cows, but you're also trying to build numbers. But you make a great point about one of the goals on your farm is to improve from last year, improve what the cows are doing year on year. Like, I think it's a great point not to be benchmarking off someone else, like, and every farm should be considering that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, so important, like, to have some sort of benchmarks, whether it is with Grassland. Obviously we have our own benchmarks there with the company and with the farm as well. Look, I know we're working towards being better farmers at home, more sustainable, more efficient and things like that. And to be honest with you, lads, like, there are serious farmers out there. I have serious clients that are only mad to help me there the whole time and everything like that. But if I was comparing our farm where we're at now to some of these guys, I'd say I'd be under serious pressure in terms of, I'd be wound up to the last, because I feel like I'm trying to do this, to get better output or to be more efficient and things like this. But, it does take time. Like, some of my clients now are probably the best clients you'd have in the country nearly, like, or I suppose every agronomist working with us is going to say that, do you know what I mean, that they have the best clients, but I think I have the best clients. So no, definitely, look, it's just about, we're focusing on ourselves and inside our own gate and how we can improve.
And you're also doing that with your own clients as well, like within Grassland Agro, because I suppose that is the name of the game, is trying to drive sustainability on farm for your customers.
Definitely, like, and like, you have so much to learn from them, and I'd like to think they're learning a bit from me as well. What you'll be picking up off these guys is, you couldn't buy the knowledge and the really expertise they have in their own field. Like with Grassland, obviously that's what we're trying to do. A lot of clients, maybe in times gone by, we probably would have just spread what was spread last year on the farm, or we would have bought the same amount of maybe 18, 6, 12 or 10, 20 that we bought on previous years. But what Grassland is doing is really good, because we're bringing diversity to it. We're explaining to clients why we are spreading peas, why we're spreading Ks, where we need it. And like, like, we'd often see where we'd go in, David, into a farm, and you'd ask them maybe, like, would you know what you spent last year on fertilizer? And then we come back in with our plan, and our plan is actually coming in, and it could be a good bit cheaper than what they would have potentially been going out to spend again this year, like, so we've definitely noticed that before, that there is a lot of value to really just sitting down for an hour at the end of December, the start of January, looking, saying, what do I need to get to make the farm perform? So it's a project worth doing, like,
Simon, probably something that we should talk about today, because it's central to your own plan for your farm, because obviously you're very good to open up your farm. There's been a discussion group there recently with with George Ramsbottom with Eamonn's discussion group, and one with the ICMSA as well there, where obviously Niall Laffin spoke at it, we did a little bit of it, and Alex Sheehan did a little bit on multi-species swards as well. But some of the key objectives for you going forward is going to be reseeding, and maybe is there much of it going on farm now, or is most of your customers have ground earmarked for reseeding, or what's your thoughts on reseeding?
Yeah, look, definitely. You know, as we said there, once the first cut is done in a lot of dairy farms, it's a time to get your second wind. And I suppose a lot of other jobs tend to creep up kind of June, July. For us, reseeding is to the forefront, as they say, on what we're trying to achieve. So I suppose we currently have a field burnt off. So hopefully now we won't go into drought conditions now. So everything will go to plan as such, you know. But definitely from being out with guys and stuff like that, you know, we're starting to earmark fields. A lot of guys that are using pasture base are able to see clearly now fields that maybe are underperforming to a certain extent. There could be fields that at this time of the year, what you can see is the quality can often go out of grass, obviously when it's going from the vegetative stage to reproductive stage and heading out and stuff like that. So guys are earmarking fields there the whole time that they can try to improve quality going forward. And you know, even from where we are at home, you know, you can see the benefit a new reseed can have, and you know how happy cows are on it and graze outs and everything, they're smashing them and stuff like that. So it's definitely a big thing there, I think, across the front, is to, you know, be conscious of maybe where we can try to make those small percentile improvements on a farm year on year. So definitely reseeding is up there, John, anyway, you know.
Yeah, something Richie Delaney was fully convinced after maybe a couple of arguments, even reseeding in Mayfield on the platform that you were milking on previously. Yeah,
look, it's gas, like, because I'd be the last couple of years, I suppose, in particular, even since I started with Grassland, I'd be always pushing, you know, guys, we should get this field taken out, or we should reseed this. It's not performing, like, and you know, I might say, when was the last time that was reseeded? And he said, Jesus, it wasn't in my lifetime either. So, you know.
Well, he's only 63.
And he's kind of saying...
maybe we should mention his name. He's young for it.
I know, he's fresh from it. Yeah. So, no, I suppose then when we did start doing the smaller reseeding, then sure, I suppose he was taking all the credit, saying, Jenny, weren't I a great lad to pick that field now into his bombing grass? And it was all him again, you know, which is great, you know.
Yeah. Small wins, sure, like, in fairness.
Oh, it is all about the small wins, John, in fairness. You can't, like, Claire will be well used to that, only small wins there.
Oh, yeah, hey. That brings us on to the most important topic anyways. That's all well and good, but in case anyone's wondering what's gone wrong with the sod pod, we're recording this in advance of the Munster final, because myself and Dave won't be seen for 3 weeks if we win
or lose.
Yeah, and I suppose we're probably hopeful, maybe. Not all the pressure is on Limerick, like, and sure, as we were saying before, Dave, they can't take Tony Kelly off us, even if they do give us a pace, and so.
No, I cannot chat. Yeah, looking forward to it now, and to be interested to see what way it goes down the next.
We'll probably do a side pod live from the Queens if we win, though.
Could be organised, yeah.
You're all invited, lads. You're all invited.
What's the prediction, John?
Prediction, I'm going to say a draw at full time, right? I'm going to say Limerick are going to get a man sent off.
Who?
I'm going to say... Who?
Yeah.
I'd say Galan probably sailing close to the win now with Rory Hayes. Yeah, this could be all completely wrong, so I'm putting my neck on the line. And then I'm going to say Clare.
Penalties, is it?
Then Limerick will go back to 15, but I'd say just the gander will be up and we'll get it done.
Davey.
I'd say Clare win by 2 points. Full time.
Simon.
Tony Kelly with 20 points.
In fairness, Sean, I do think... Clare, the real dark horses there in this year's championship, but you know, there was no medals for ever winning a round robin or even topping the table. So as John said, I do think Clare will really put it up to Limerick, but I just think Limerick are probably gonna have too much armoury in the tank.
James, what's your prediction?
Yeah, I'd be straight up down the line, lads. No offence, Limerick by 7. I think that you've had a lovely little Munster championship, but I'll call it straight out. Limerick want to do this by 7 points. It's worth noting, if I'm wrong, I can delete myself off this.
James does all the editing, so he'll probably put this out in advance now at 5 to 4 on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
John, I've recorded here on my phone, so we can put it out anyway.
And
Look, we call it a day there, Simon. It was great to have you on. Great to have the insight into the farm at home. And it was great to have the insight from the Grassland Agro agronomist point of view. Just 2 little points that I really picked up on there and your passion towards it. Driving efficiency, but learning from each other, whether that's within Richard, Eamonn and yourself or all the other farming community out there as well. You're now banned from rolling the pit, and the importance of soil fertility, reseeding and lime. Mind yourself out there. Farm smart, farm safe. Hey, thanks for listening to the Sod Pod. We hope you enjoyed it. To find out more, head over to www.grasslandagro.ie or check out our social channels: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn and YouTube. That's all for this episode. See you next time.